My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. I'm going to break down the entire UFC 285 fight card, giving you my DraftKings picks, predictions, and plays. Before I jump in, head on over to WeWantPicks.com and take a look at all of the incredible tools and information that we have for you to help you build winning lineups. The first thing is we're going to break down your cash core lineup, what that should look like, who should be in there, your GPP core lineup, what that should look like, who should be in there, all the way across. And then we include leverage and fades depending on your type of lineup. But take a look at this cheat sheet. This will be fully populated by Fridays at 6 p.m. with the fighters, their salaries, the scoring projections, the ownership projections, and the leverage. Our ownership projections are our number. We calculate them on our own. This isn't a copy-paste situation. We have had the lowest margin of error in this entire space, absolutely demolishing the massive companies and everybody else. This cheat sheet will be fully populated, and the most important thing on here, you could argue, is leverage, especially a week like this where we have tremendous favorites. And you got to find your spots. And that leverage is a calculation that takes a look at salary versus points projection and ownership projection and gives you some spots to separate yourself from the rest of the pack. We have also added incredible detailed statistics. We have 38 columns of incredible stats, everything from striking stats to grappling stats, the fighter outcome, how they're winning, how they're scoring odds. There's so much information here. But if it's too much information and it's hard for you to just look at that giant monstrosity 38 column sheet, you can still stay on our website and we divide that up into digestible interactive charts. So for example, right here, we have striking stats. We have the last 5 record. We have all sorts of information here. It's that same stuff from the massive chart divided up into interactive charts. Let's say I'm on the site. I want to see who has the highest takedown average on this card. I'm building a DraftKings lineup. Takedown score really well. Well, obviously it's Bo Nickel, then it's Garbrandt. And this is completely sortable, completely interactive. And then don't forget, we have the DraftKings Optimizer. This will help you build lineups. You can build lineups. You can build 1. You can build 150. And it's going to do all of this with a couple clicks of the button. Everything I just walked through and then so much more is available to you today for only $10 a month. Freak, not an event. $10 a month. WeWantPicks.com for everything you could possibly need. So let's go ahead and break down this card. And as always, we're going to start at the bottom and work our way to the top. Opening up the card, we have a sort of late addition. We have Loik Radzhabov taking on Esteban Ribovics. Neither one of these guys has an official UFC fight, so we're not going to see any stats here whatsoever. But Loik is the one stepping up on short notice. Esteban was already on this card, lost his opponent, was hanging around, and then Loik is stepping up to put this back together. Loik's sort of a non-stop guy. He comes forward. He's got a wrestling pace. He has got impressive throws and trips for takedowns and really powerful hands. His striking is definitely sloppy, but he just starts bombing away. And he looks, Jacob and I had this argument, he looks like he gets physically tired, but he never stops. So you'll see him breathing heavy. You'll see him get sloppy, but this dude is not going to stop. He's going to come forward, and he's going to continue to push that pace. And he's taking on Esteban Ribovics. Esteban Ribovics is a really impressive striker. He's got sneaky power too. He's got a nice short shots that are super accurate and fast. He's got a tight guard, and he just works forward picking those shots with that accuracy. He does have takedowns if he needs them. He's got solid BJJ as well. He'll just shoot clean doubles and work up the body. The pricing here is a little wild. We've got Loik at $9,000. Esteban at $7,200. I get it. Loik is the more dangerous of the two because he will come forward, he will bomb away, he'll set a wrestling pace, he'll try to get that done. I do think Loik probably wins this fight. But in a card like this, where we have some insane favorites, we have a lot of people that should absolutely win, a lot of people that should win by finish, Loik is not the guy I'm going to spend $9,000 on. It is short notice. He's fighting Esteban Ribovics here, who is undefeated. And you know how I feel about undefeated fighters. He's 11-0, I believe. And we don't, he is 11-0. And we just don't know if he's 11-0 and he's going to show up and look like a bum and he's not ready. Or if he's 11-0, that's going to turn into 30-0. With that being said, I'm not spending the money on Loik. There's too many unknowns there. Short notice. A couple of losses recently on his record. We're going to leave that alone. Esteban Ribovics is probably the better play for DraftKings, especially at $7,200. And this is a card where you're going to have some people in your lineup that you're not going to like putting in there because it's a very favorite-heavy card, which is also why that leverage number on the website is so important to help you find those spots. Then we have Farid Basharat taking on Damon Blackshear. Farid Basharat, $9,100. He's Javid Basharat's brother. Javid, as we know, is an absolute killer. And Farid can be as well, right? He's got this taekwondo stance, and he loves to strike. He does have that wrestling in his back pocket. He will go to it if he needs to, but he's primarily a striker in there, and he's moving wide. He's keeping his stance. He's coming in, coming out, touching people up. You break down tape, you're going to see a fight where he gets dropped, but he instantly recovers, shoots a takedown, and works from there. I think Farid absolutely dominates this fight, but he is fighting Damon Blackshear, who's got some real power in his hands, and he's also a solid grappler. He's really slick with the grappling. He will just snatch up submissions in scrambles. He's coming off his official UFC debut, which was short notice against Youssef Zalal, where it was a draw. He won the first 2 rounds, got absolutely beat on in the 3rd round to give up a 10-8, but he only scored 35 points. Even if he won that fight, you'll give him another 30. That's 65 points. That's not outstanding. Granted, it was $8,000 salary, but this is a spot where I'm going to fade both. I don't see Damon Blackshear winning this fight at all. I just don't see him winning this fight. Farid should absolutely win, but he's $9,100, and I think there's other people at that price point that will win by stoppage. I'm not positive that Farid is going to win by stoppage. Tabatha Ricci taking on Jessica Penne. Tabatha Ricci, $8,900. And boy, has she been worth it in her last couple of fights. Her UFC debut was a beating to Manon Fiorot. Manon Fiorot is an absolute killer. This was also at 125 pounds. Tabatha Ricci is a 115-pounder. So a short notice UFC debut, a weight class above her, did not work out well. Since then, scored 100 in a decision, 93 in a decision. So she's absolutely putting points on the board. I will spend the $8,900 on Tabatha because I see her getting the takedowns, getting the control time. I don't know if she's going to be able to submit Jessica Penne because Jessica is a straight-up tried-and-true vet at this point. But I do think Tabatha's going to be worth it. And Jessica Penne at $7,300, I personally don't like it. Some of you are going to look at this and say, well, we've got somebody that we could, put in our lineup that will probably survive because she is tough, but I just don't see her winning. I don't know how she's going to put very many points on the board. And look at this Emily Ducote fight, for example. 26 points in a decision loss, 34 in a decision loss. I think she's taken down. She's held down. She is a crafty veteran. She's got 16 years of MMA experience under that belt. She's not great anywhere, but decent grappling, decent striking, doesn't really get tired. I think this is a mauling. I think Tabatha Ricci absolutely comes forward, gets the takedowns, beats up Jessica. You're going to say, well, Lupi Godinez couldn't beat Jessica Penne. Well, 2 things. First of all, that was a bad decision. Lupi won that fight. Second of all, Lupi's takedowns and Tabatha Ricci's takedowns are not the same thing. Lupi's looking to bully you to the ground. Jessica's big, strong, and a veteran. Tabatha is shooting, working the legs, working you down the right way. She's not trying to stay tall and drag you to the ground. So I think Tabatha Ricci gets it done, $8,900. I will likely spend that in my lineup. Then we have Mana Martinez taking on Cameron Saaiman. Cameron Saaiman, one of 2 South Africans on this card. I like Mana Martinez. I think he's worth the $7,400. I know Cameron is, you guys are loving Cameron in this fight. You think he absolutely blows through Mana Martinez. Listen, again, you are going to have some big underdogs in your lineup. That's just the way this card is laid out. And when we're looking across those underdogs, I think Mana Martinez is one of the more live ones. We know how much power he has in his hands. He is an incredibly powerful striker. He's an aggressive striker as well. He's constantly switching stances, which can throw off his opponents, and he will exploit. You throw something lazy, he's going to blast you. If you go back to the regional scene, he knocked out Jose Johnson, who threw out a lazy jab, and Mana just went right over the top of it and put him to sleep. But what I like about his fights here is if we look at this Ronnie Lawrence fight, Listen, he was just getting tossed around. He was out wrestled, tossed around, but he had Ronnie Lawrence on ice skates. He had, look at this, 2 knockdowns. He had a reversal. This dude was a straight up dog in that fight. And he's taking on Cameron Saaiman. Listen, Cameron Saaiman is a fun technical striker. He can grapple if he needs to, but he's typically a striker and he does a really good job working combinations, working in leg kicks, and then going from there. He is very, very dangerous. With that being said, if he thinks he's going to come in here and just take Manna's head off, he could be in some for trouble. You're going to see this win, right? Oh, official UFC debut. He beat Steven Kosla. Wow, he did it by knockout. But he did it in the 3rd round, and the reality is he was going to lose a decision. He was going to lose a decision. He was getting taken down. He was getting controlled. Yes, there was a bunch of wild scrambles where he ended up on top, but he was able to pull off that knockout and score really well. The reality of this situation is Cameron Saaiman is very dangerous on his feet. Manna Martinez is very dangerous on his feet as well. Manna Martinez, in my opinion, is a little more tested, a little more durable. I know for a fact he's a dog. Cameron, I know you people love him. I know you think he's going to win by finish. So here's my thing. I'm going to have Manna Martinez in my lineup at $7,400. If you are 100% full bore on the Cameron Saaiman side, and you think he's absolutely going to knock out Manna Martinez, well, at $8,800, he is one of the more affordable wins where we're going to get a stoppage. So if you're on that side, take that side. Personally, we're going to need some dogs to free up some money, and Manna Martinez is one of them for my lineup. Then we have Ian Garry versus Song Kenan. Listen, Song Kenan hasn't fought in a little while. It's been almost 2 full years since this guy has fought. And he's a powerful striker with straight up one-punch knockout power. But he has absolute trash city wrestling, and he can be knocked out as well. He's $6,900. He is not a live underdog. Ian Garry at $9,300 will get the knockout, will win this fight, will put some real points on the board. I think you got to have Ian Garry in your lineup at 90. There's about 4 or 5 people that I think score really well here. Ian Garry is one of them. I think his line, his betting line, I think has flexed all the way to like minus 800, minus 900. A lot of books have taken prop bets off the board for Ian Garry because they were just getting pounded on because everybody's just like, yes, Ian Garry is going to murder this dude. With that being said, $9,300, it's a lot of money, but I think it's good money to spend here. I think he's going to get the knockout. I think he's going to get it somewhat early, and I think he's going to put some real points on the board. So Ian Garry should probably be in your lineup. Then we have Julian Marquez taking on Marc-Andre Barriault. Julian Marquez, $8,000. I wish he was more affordable than that. This fight's essentially a pick'em. There's 2 fights on this card that are basically pick'ems. This is one of them. Julian Marquez, he's a well-rounded guy. He's got a pretty good chin for the most part, right? He is coming off that loss to Gregory Rodriguez, but Gregory Rodriguez knocks everybody out. Except Bruno Ferreira, which, I picked that correctly. Anyway, Julian Marquez, dangerous guy. Dangerous guy. He's never out of a fight. Go back to this Maki Pitolo fight. He was losing this fight and then just pulled off that submission late in the 3rd round to get it done. The Sam Alvey fight, he came in, he beat up Sam Alvey, got it done. How many times have we seen people in fights against Sam Alvey that it was way closer than it should have been? Not Julian Marquez. I like Julian Marquez. I actually think he's going to get this done. $8,000 is a tricky price, right? Because it's right in the middle. It is right in the middle, and I'm going to have some heavy favorites. So I probably cannot have him in my lineup the way I'm building mine. But certainly in some of your multi-entry and GPP lineups, you should probably have one side of this in there. Either Julian Marquez or Marc-Andre Barriault, because Marc-Andre Barriault is also a well-rounded guy. He's got some solid kickboxing. He's got some solid takedowns. His jiu-jitsu is decent as well. And Marc-Andre is typically just looking to pressure you forward, beat you up, and get it done. There's a lot of finishes here, both in wins and losses. So he's an $8,200. He's only $200 more than Julian Marquez. The sports books are saying that Marc-Andre should win this fight. DraftKings is saying he should, but just by a little bit. This is probably one of the fights where you should have one side in your lineup. A lot of people are going to be spending a ton of money on the big favorites. And then they're going to be forced to throw a couple of trash underdogs in there because that's the price. Song Kanong's going to be in some people's lineups because he's $6,900 and they went with Valentina and Bo Nickel and whoever else and they're stuck there. This middle of the pack might be empty, might not be in a lot of lineups that can really separate you from everybody else. So you might need either Marc-Andre or Julian in your lineup. I think Julian wins. He'll probably be in a few of my lineups. To really identify those spots, make sure you're a premium member. It's only $10 a month. I don't even need to convince you that that's worth it. But take a look at leverage. We have a full leverage slate where the leverage takes a look at the fighter's salary, the ownership projections, the score projections, and it gives you opportunities to separate yourself from the pack. And when it comes down to building these lineups and doing large tournaments, it's all about separating yourself. So you're not tied for 300th place with 10,000 people. You work your way towards the top of that list. You separate yourself from the pack. You have some low-owned, high-scoring people, and then you have yourself a decent lineup. The leverage number, we're the only people putting that out there. The leverage number on the website will help you find those spots, and this fight might be one of them. And then the other one is the Amanda Ribas and Viviane Araujo. This is about even. The bookies have this almost even. DraftKings separated it just a little bit with Amanda at $8,300. Amanda Ribas, she's a pretty well-rounded fighter. She can grapple. That's how she started her career. She's a pretty busy striker now. Is it technical? No. But she's busy. She's active. She's constantly moving, constantly throwing stuff out there. Amanda Ribas is a pretty good fighter. I think she wins this fight. I will not have her in my lineup. $8,300. She's not the best scorer in the world. And this is a really, really tough fight because Viviane Araujo is a beast of a grappler. She's got much more technical striking than Amanda Ribas does. And she's powerful. The only reason I don't think Viviane Araujo wins this fight is because of the cardio. She's got some pretty bad cardio and she will fade as the fight goes on. But it's not ridiculous that she can come in here, push around Amanda Ribas, defend the takedowns because she has Viviane has a 90% takedown defense. She can defend those Amanda Ribas takedowns, keep it standing where she should have the power and the technical advantage. The reason I think Amanda wins is I think Viviane's going to slow down, and then Amanda can win most of round 2 and round 3 just by being busier, more active, and having the cardio behind her, where Viviane's definitely going to win round 1. I think that's how this plays out. I'm not going to have Viviane in my lineup. I'm not going to have Amanda in my lineup because I don't think either one of them are going to score very well. There's probably not a finish, and it's going to be mostly striking. But tough fight for both of them, and it should be pretty interesting as a whole. We got Derek Brunson versus Dricus du Plessis. This is one of the more polarizing fights on this card. This goes one of two ways. Derek Brunson either gets the takedowns and, we can finish, but the most important part of the thing is Derek Brunson either gets the takedowns or gets knocked out. Those are basically the only two things that could happen in this fight. Derek Brunson getting takedowns is pretty commonplace at this point. He has 23 takedowns in his last 6 fights. 3, 6, 4, 2, 4. 23 takedowns in his last 6 fights. Even against Jared Cannonier, this bro put up 48 points and he was knocked out in the second round. 48 points and he was knocked out in the second round. He had a knockdown. He had 3 takedowns. He had control time. I think you need to have Derek Brunson in your lineup. Even if you think Dricus du Plessis knocks him out. Derek Brunson's 39 years old. Even if you think Dricus du Plessis knocks Derek Brunson out, I think you need Derek Brunson in your lineup at that price. You need underdogs, and look how well he scored in a loss that he was knocked out in. If Derek Brunson puts up 54 points for you this weekend, that might not be a bad spot because we may not see any underdogs win. This card might only be favorites. Literally, there could be 0 underdogs winning. So now we have to figure out who's going to be the highest scoring underdog. Which underdog has the highest potential to win and then to score well? I think it's Derek Brunson. Dricus du Plessis, he's a wild man. He comes forward, busy striker. He will grapple as well. He was taking Darren Till down left and right, 6 takedowns. He was also taken down by Darren Till. Derek Brunson should be able to take him down. I think it's going to look exactly like Derek Brunson's last fight. I think he's going to have success in the grappling, have do well, put up some points, and then probably get stopped because Dricus isn't going to stop. He's going to keep bombing away. Derek Brunson's 39, was just knocked out. Derek Brunson does not like to get hit, and Dricus du Plessis is going to swing and try to hit him. Again, I think you're going to need Derek Brunson in your lineup at the $7-something thousand price point because he's going to score well. I just scored you how well he scored in a loss. This may be both sides of that coin. Dricus du Plessis could score well over 100, and then Derek Brunson could score 50, 60, and Derek Brunson was still the better overall play because of the Tetris you have to play with your lineup. So that's my opinion on that. I know a lot of you people love Dricus. I think he wins this fight, but I think Derek Brunson's probably the highest scoring underdog on the card, potentially, especially if he wins. But even if he loses, he should do really well. Then we have the featured prelim fight. We have Trevin Jones taking on Cody Garbrandt. Trevin Jones is another guy that you could consider for your lineup. $7,700 is very affordable for a guy that hits like a freight train fighting a guy with no chin whatsoever. Trevin Jones is a fun striker. He's got a ton of power. He throws everything with 100% bad intentions. He's not technical and he's low volume. That's my biggest issue with the guy. If he just threw a little more out there, he could have some more success. But look at the people he has just fought. Primarily wrestlers. Primarily people looking to take him down, get him to the ground, and take away the power, take away the hands. Cody Garbrandt is a wrestler, but he's a striker in the cage, if that makes sense. He grew up as a wrestler. Jacob mentioned this in his breakdown, and people are commenting on the video. What do you mean Cody's a wrestler? Cody spent his whole life as a wrestler. He is a wrestler. He has spent his entire life wrestling. Wrestled in elementary school, middle school, high school, college. He is a wrestler. He, at times, uses that wrestling in his fights. Took down Rob Font 3 times before the eventual loss there because his face was getting beat up. And then he took down Dominic Cruz in that win. Outside of that, you don't see a lot of wrestling out of him, but he may come out here trying to reinvent himself because these are all knockout losses, and that's not a good look. His chin is gone. He's a very, very talented guy. I cannot spend $8,500 on a guy with no chin. I just can't. He is unbelievable. If he had a chin, he would probably still be the champion today. He's unbelievably technical. But he's got no chin whatsoever. Trevin Jones, super low volume, ridiculously frustrating to watch. But there's a world where Trevin Jones connects and gets it done because Cody Garbrandt has no chin. If you want to take that chance on Trevin Jones at $7,700, you need some big underdogs. Might not be the worst shot in the dark that you could take, but I can't spend favorite money on Cody Garbrandt with no chin. I just can't. He should win. Cody should win this fight. He's going to be literally better everywhere, but he's got no chin, won't be able to take a punch. So I'm going to fade both sides of that, but Trevin Jones is probably the better side. Here's a controversial take for you. We got Bo Nickel taking on Jamie Pickett. Bo Nickel's going to dominate this fight. He's going to get a takedown, going to get a submission. He's going to win. There's no, obviously, anything's possible to fist fight, but Bo Nickel's going to win this fight. Here's why I'll argue that you might not want to have Bo Nickel in your DraftKings lineup. He is $9,600. $9,600. When we look at some of these other fighters, you can get people that we know are going to win by KO or TKO at $9,100, at $8,800. What was Ian Garry? Ian Garry was $400 or $500 less than this and could potentially put up more numbers. The only way Bo Nickel covers this $9,600 is if he gets a finish inside of 1 minute. That is possible because if he does it under 1 minute, he'll get that extra bonus, right? They give you another 30 points, whatever the hell it is. So Bo Nickel could get the takedown and the submission under 1 minute. He's done it twice already in the UFC. But the bet here is, do you think he goes over a minute? If you think this fight goes longer than 1 minute, it almost doesn't matter what he does. There's going to be people putting up similar numbers to him that are far cheaper. If you think he gets it done in under a minute, throw Bo Nickel in your lineup because he will by far be the highest scorer on the card. If you think this fight goes over a minute, even if Bo Nickel puts up 110 points on the board, well, Ian Garry could put up 110. Ian Garry could put up 100 and whatever. And Ian Garry's $400 or $500 less expensive. That's your pick. That's your bet. If it's under 1 minute, spend the 9,600. Over 1 minute, don't. And that's up to you to decide. Bo Nickal's going to dominate this fight. We'll click on Jamie Pickett just to show some respect here. He is a fighter with over 20 professional fights. He's got all the experience in the world, but he does get taken down and he does get finished. And that's exactly what's going to happen here. He's going to get taken down. He's going to get finished. Good for Jamie for taking this fight. He can come out here. It's a fist fight. He can swing. He can knee. Anything could happen. But I don't see him winning. He definitely should not be in your lineup. He might score literally 0 points. He might not get a single punch off before he's taken down and submitted. Then we got Jalen Turner versus Mateusz Gamrot. This is another incredibly polarizing fight on this card where a lot of people have a lot of different opinions. I think Gamrot's going to win this fight. But let's talk about Jalen Turner. Jalen Turner is a good striker. He's a good boxer. He does a really good job managing range and pushing the pace forward. He's also tied with the longest active stoppage streak in the UFC right now with 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's a killer. He can submit you. He can knock you out. This Brad Riddell submission's a little deceiving. Brad Riddell shot in. He caught up a guillotine. Doesn't mean it's not a submission, but it's not like Jalen Turner was getting takedowns and then working from there. But, he's got all the power, all the technique. He could absolutely knock out Gamrot. Gamrot gets dropped in every single fight. But Jalen Turner was taken down in a lot of these fights. Matt Frivola took him down 4 times in that fight. Brock Weaver has taken him down. Jamie Malarkey has taken him down. And none of those people are as good of a wrestler as Mateusz Gamrot. Mateusz Gamrot's coming off this loss to Beneil Dariush. Frankly, some people still think he won that fight. I would argue Gamrot, he didn't look bad, right? He did not look bad in this fight. Beneil Dariush has some of the best takedown defense we have ever seen in the UFC. I have never seen somebody defend takedowns the way that he did. And you could argue if you scored that fight, listen, all Beneil was doing was defending takedowns. Mateusz was the one coming forward, shooting, trying to make it happen. He still got 4. He was dropped. Gamrot was dropped, and he gets dropped in every single fight. That's the one thing that worries me here. I think Gamrot's going to win this fight. I think $8,600 is a very good price for a guy that routinely puts up 100 points in fights. Routinely. Even in decisions, because it's takedown. Granted, this was 5 rounds, but still. I think Gamrot's going to come forward, wrestle like an MFer. And he's going to get the takedowns, going to get the control time, potentially a submission win. That's a possibility. Jalen Turner's super tough. Could Mateusz Gamrot get knocked out? Of course, Jalen Turner's got incredible power. Gamrot gets knocked down in every single fight he's ever been in. He's knocked down. I like Gamrot to get this done. I like that he's $8,600. If you're on the Jalen Turner side, then you have an incredible underdog at incredible value, and you should have him in your lineup. Jeff Neal, Shavkat Rakhmonov, $9,200. I think he's great price. Again, let's look at Bo Nickel. Bo Nickel at $9,600. Rakhmonov at $9,200. He should also score over 100 points. He should also win this fight inside the distance. He's never been to a decision. 16 fights, he has never been to a decision. He's knocked people out. He's submitted people. He's coming off the absolute destruction of Neil Magny. He murdered that dude. Takedowns, control time, submission, put up 111 points against a guy who we all know is very, very tough. Rakhmonov should absolutely win this fight. I think $9,200 is appropriate pricing. He is fighting Jeff Neal. A lot of you want to talk about Jeff Neal's power, his striking, and those are all very true things. He's got decent takedown defense as well. He does have very real power in his hands, and he's a good striker. This Vicente Luque fight was interesting because he looked good early, started the fade, and then he did find that knockout. But I just don't see him being able to survive Rakhmonov's pressure, takedowns. I just think he's going to get taken down. He's going to get beaten up and probably going to get stopped as well. He is a durable guy. We haven't seen him in the UFC get stopped in a loss. He's a very good, very durable guy, but Rakhmonov is a very different person. Again, if you're on the Jeff Neal side, then do it. $7,000 for Jeff Neal. Go for it. This is a guy who just knocked out Vicente Luque, who beat Ponzinibbio in a striking match. Go for it. $7,000. We need those underdogs. But I'm on the Rakhmonov side. I absolutely think he gets it done. I don't even think it's a tough night. I think he absolutely blows through him. Then we have the co-main event, Valentina Shevchenko taking on Alexa Grasso, $9,400. Do you think she is going to finish in this fight? Well, even if she doesn't, she's going to put up some really big numbers. Look at this fight against Taila Santos, 115 points in a fight that a lot of people think she lost. Lauren Murphy, 108, 140 against Andrade, 135 against Jennifer Maia. Valentina Shevchenko should absolutely win this fight. I think she's straight up, one of the best fighters to ever do it, male or female. And we've seen her just dominate in some of these fights. This Taila Santos fight, she didn't look great. The difference between Taila Santos and Alexa Grasso, though, is that Taila Santos is dangerous. She can knock you out. She can submit you. Alexa Grasso is not dangerous. Therefore, I think Valentina is going to come forward, work in the takedowns as we've seen. Valentina Shevchenko has just been absolutely ripping takedowns lately. She has had 21 takedowns in her last 5 fights. 3, 3, 7, 5, 3. Working takedowns, and I think she's going to get that done over Alexa Grasso as well. Alexa Grasso, since moving up in weight, since coming up to 125 pounds, she is 4-0. And that's what's earned her this title shot. The reality is she's a 115-pounder. She's going to be smaller. She's not going to be the better striker. She's not going to be the better grappler. She's not going to be stronger. I think Valentina Shevchenko almost does whatever she wants to do here. Valentina's going to be the pick. If you like Alexa Grasso to survive, to put up a couple of numbers, to make some stuff happen, this is a 5-round fight, and she is one of the most affordable fighters on the card. She is the cheapest fighter on the card that has a shot in hell at winning. Alexa Grasso could survive, could make it to the end, $6,800. If you think she's going to last 5 rounds, if you think she could put up some numbers, then she might be worth it. Again, there's only a few underdogs on this card that have a real chance at winning their fights. Alexa Grasso is by far the cheapest that has a shot in hell. You may want to have her in your GPP lineup. You may want to have her in a couple of cash flyers as well. I like Valentina. I think most of us do. I think she dominates, does whatever the hell she wants, potentially gets a finish as well. So I'm not going to play that game, but $6,800 in a 5-round fight, she's not, she earned this title shot. She is very good, but that's up to you. Use the leverage calculator on our website to find that spot, and maybe it'll tell you. Maybe the leverage calculator will say Alexa Grasso is one of the better plays for GPP. Then we got Jon Jones, Ciryl Gane. This is one of the most exciting main events we have had in a very long time. I'm absolutely pumped for this fight. I almost don't know what to do. I keep flip-flopping. On one hand, I'm like, I think Ciryl Gane wins this fight because Jon Jones, in his last fight, looked like absolute shit. And half of the internet was screaming and yelling that Jon Jones lost that fight. Jon Jones lost to Dominic Reyes. He lost. Those exact same people are like, he's the best to ever do it, and he's going to beat the crap out of Ciryl Gane. The same people who 3 years ago said that Dominic Reyes beat Jon Jones are saying that Jon Jones is going to beat Ciryl Gane. Same exact people. And this is just so tricky because Jon Jones, I think, is the best to ever do it. I want him to win this fight. I think he's a better fighter than Ciryl Gane, but he is 3 years removed from his worst performance of his career. He's gained 40 pounds. I just don't know what he's going to look like. And then the other argument is Ciryl Gane lost to Francis Ngannou. He was taken down over and over, and he was held down over and over. And his hand is swollen. His hand is a mess at the press conference. There's so many variables. There's so many things going on. I honestly think you fade this fight. I don't think you have either one of these in your lineup. If one of them's going to win by finish, it's going to be Jon Jones, right? He will get the takedowns and he'll elbow away. Jon Jones can win by finish. Ciryl Gane probably doesn't win by finish. Jon Jones is tough. Who's going to finish Jon? He could win that point fighting, dancing around. Jon Jones could look like the dumpster fire that he was against Dominic Reyes, except heavier. And Ciryl Gane can dance around, touch him up, defend those takedowns, and win a decision. There's so many variables. I don't know exactly what to do here. You do have a $7,800 fighter that is an affordable guy who could potentially win this fight. I actually think Ciryl Gane wins. Then I have moments of weakness, like last night while watching the press conference where Jon Jones is talking about every little tiny thing Ciryl Gane does wrong. It's like, damn, that dude did do his tape study. And he is, we have never seen Jon Jones not go out there and do things well. Like, he looked like shit in the Dominic Reyes fight, but he still was better than most people. And Dominic Reyes had the night of his life. It's just so tricky. Ciryl Gane at $7,800 is incredible value. John Jones, the greatest to ever do it, at $8,400 is also incredible value and could get the stoppage. So I don't know what to tell you. Ciryl Gane is probably the better deal here. I think he wins, but I'm saying I think he wins because John Jones is 3 years removed from the worst fight ever, and he's 40 pounds heavier. Not because John Jones doesn't have a clear path. He does have a clear path. It's the takedowns. It's the working on top. Guys, let me know what you're going to do with that main event. Let me know what your lineups are going to look like. Do not forget, WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 a month. You're going to get full breakdowns of cash core lineups, GPP core, live dogs, leverage, fades. This cheat sheet will be fully populated by 6 p.m. tonight. You have access to all of these incredible data and all of this incredible statistics here. And if this is too overwhelming, there's a lot of colors, there's 38 columns, what the hell is going on? Well, we take that, we chop it up, and we give you digestible interactive charts. All of this and the optimizer are available for you now at WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 a month. Click, become a member.